Today's guest is Allison Yazian, the CEO of Uscreen, the platform powering over 13,000 video creators and businesses, with nearly $1 billion in creator revenue generated and over 15 million users worldwide.
If you want it to be your own platform, this is your own component where it's your data, your content, you own the developer key on the apps. Like, we are the software that is powering it, and there's benefits to it.
Today, we're diving into what it actually looks like to offer your audience a fully customized experience through your very own app, and why it's more accessible than you think. And it could be the best path for you to monetize your YouTube following.
We have a creator who was so successful in her fitness app that she started a second app. She's actually helping other Pilates instructors launch their own memberships.
Hi, I'm Erika Vieira, a YouTube strategist who's worked with nearly 2,000 female business owners, creatives, and entrepreneurs over the last decade. This show is about real conversations on what it really takes to grow on YouTube. To learn more about working directly with me and access to my free live YouTube workshop, check out the description below. Ladies, class is in session. Let's talk to Allison. Well, hello, Allison. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. How are you?
Good. All right, let's dig into this. So as a CEO of Uscreen and your history at LTK, you have this bird's eye view of the creator economy. What is it that you're seeing, or what is the data that you see that a lot of creators don't actually know?
That's a great question. I think, like, stepping back, like, if you just look at the trend lines, this economy is growing like wildfire, to the point where other industries are really starting to take and place more attention to it. I think one of the big themes that have emerged in the last year or so is that you're seeing these sort of big, sort of Hollywood studio type distribution platforms, like Netflix is a great example. They're really starting to look at content creators who've really gotten their start at YouTube as a new source of content for them to drive and build audiences. And I think all this is to say is, social media and the various platforms have created this incredible platform for really anyone to start to get their message out into the world. And what's happened in the last few years is that now these content creators are really starting to understand that there's multiple ways for them to be able to monetize and create longevity in their businesses that maybe even didn't exist like 10 years ago. And so anyone who wants to start a business, even if it's a physical business, has to think about how they can leverage YouTube and Instagram and TikTok as a way to reach their audience. But it's not just about like that one product they want to sell. It ends up helping them build out these sort of like media empires, if you will, if they have the right type of content. And the other piece too, and we can talk about this, is like, I think a lot of the most successful content creators have really actually started very narrow in a niche. And I think that is a theme that is going to continue to emerge, where it's a big world. There's a lot of people out there. So even if you feel like you're going really narrow, there's actually a way for you to build a really engaged audience that will help you build a sustainable business.
So what would you say to the business owner who's listening to this, who's like, oh, I know I need to get onto, social or YouTube, but it's like they have some resistance around it? Because I think what I see is that there's this group of people that get it, and they're on there and they're trying. And then there's another group, I think they're almost afraid of the time that they put into it, that it's not going to give them the ROI.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is completely valid. It is, in some ways, like, you can post to these platforms for free. And so first, it's like this recognition of, it's a way for you to start to build your brand, build your audience at no cost. Not only does it help you catch a user, it can help you with search engine optimization, LLM search, etc. And so my answer to them is, you have to sort of first look inward, understand what is the motivation, what is the blocker? Is it a lack of knowledge? Well, the great news is there's an infinite amount of resources to help you think through how to be successful. If the next blocker is, well, I don't have the time to do this, well, especially with AI, you have to make the time, but there's also ways for you to bring in great people who have the expertise, who can actually help you do it. You just have to be very thoughtful about why you want to do it, what your approach is, and what your goals are, what you want to get out of it to start to build these businesses and these audiences online. And, to your question around like the bird's eye view, it's not too late, right? Like YouTube is the number one viewing platform on TV, like meaning big screen TV, the thing behind me. And, you still hear stories of someone who started a year or two ago and have built these incredible audiences and these incredible businesses. This is where attention is. And so it's not too late to be able to jump in and get in on this ecosystem to really build out the business that you've dreamed of in the future.
Yeah, what would you tell that person who says, "Well," because you mentioned this idea of niche, which I think is an interesting thing, we can talk about that. But it's like, "Well, my niche is so saturated. There's so many people that are already on there." What would you say to that?
I mean, I like this is the algorithm. Like you may feel like it is super
Mhm.
saturated, but like the world changes very quickly. And so if you feel like you have a unique point of view, if you feel like your perspective, if you have an ability to engage an audience, people are going to want that fresh take. Right. Like it's a little bit the way the world spins is like everyone's always looking for like that what's new, what's novel, what's coming in. And again, niches by definition feel really narrow and small, but again, like, because we're in a world where the entire global population has an opportunity to view you, you may actually be approaching the niche and speaking to your audience in a way that really resonates with the right amount of people that can create a business for you.
Yeah. So what are some of the mistakes that you see creators making right now?
I mean, I think that it's a journey, and so I
Mhm.
think, like, a lot of creators may sort of enter into it, wanna get that one viral video, may want to start to build up their followers, maybe be overly obsessed with, like, growing their subscriber and their follower count, which, look, those are great metrics,
Mhm.
I'd say because this industry is evolving so much, like those metrics are just one data point versus, again, years ago, it used to be like, how many followers you have? Great, go do this collab with me. It's really about like that audience engagement, commenting, forwarding, people who are watch time. Like, how do you make sure that you're actually like creating content that really resonates with your audience? And so that takes time. This is not an overnight success. This takes days, months, years of consistency, of creating, of iterating, understand your audience. And I think the other side of that is as you think about monetization, making sure that you're monetizing in a way that feels authentic. And I sort of hesitate when I say the word authentic because everyone talks about authenticity, but if you're going too fast to, oversaturating on brand deals or deals that don't feel authentic to you, that's where you sort of can lose the audience and lose that engagement. And so you have to sort of look at this as like a long term view of kind of again like what are the goals, where are you trying to get to, and then how do you build a plan so step by step you're starting to get there.
Yeah, and so you're the CEO of a company, Uscreen, where, you're helping creators on that monetization side. I'm interested, like, what are your thoughts on the different platforms? Like, what success have you seen from people in regards to what platform they're on? Do you find that, maybe Instagram is really great for driving traffic to say some kind of product, or YouTube or TikTok, or do you see them all kind of the same?
Well, I mean, I would say like a lot of our creators have solid YouTube presence, right? Like
Mhm.
they've got a decent number of subscribers. They have a great amount of like content on YouTube. They really look at it as their top of funnel. I
Mhm.
just feel like YouTube is a phenomenal way to like build an audience, build that engagement. But at the same time, like a lot of our creators have been very successful on Instagram and TikTok,
Mhm.
especially like when you think about what we're doing at Uscreen. Like our customers are coming to us because they're like, I'm ready to own the data, own the destination, own my revenue stream. And so we help build these sort of like white label experiences. When you think about Instagram and TikTok, and I would say especially on Instagram and TikTok as well, like people's propensity to like convert or pay is really high. It's almost like lean forward phone based experience. It's a lot easier to click that button to make the purchase or sign up for the subscription. We've had a lot of creators who've been very successful in sort of marketing themselves with short form content to then get them into their funnels to then sort of become part of the membership. Um, Most of them do have a decent setup on YouTube, and that's why we
Mhm.
love YouTube. It's part of the ecosystem. That's your top of funnel. That's how you build your audience.
Yeah. Yeah. So, a lot of creators, they have, or at least I've seen this, they have actually a decent size audience. They have a decent sized audience, but they struggle with turning it into a business and making any money from that. Um, what do you see as the issue there?
I mean, it sort of goes back to what I was saying before. Like audiences, can be sort of interpreted widely and loosely. There's definitely people who I follow who I would absolutely buy from, and there's others who are it's more passive. And so
Mhm.
I think like the creators who are most successful in sort of like monetizing and figuring out ways to create that longevity is they're really building that like direct relationship with that audience. It's like this notion of like a value exchange where if someone is watching your content, there's value coming out of it. It's education, it's knowledge, it could just be levity, but like, I mean, our creators span a ton of different verticals that we work with, but they're engaged enough and bought into you and your content that they want to and are willing to pay for it. As I mentioned, like follower count is just one metric, right? And it's an important one because that first step that someone's willing to take, they want to subscribe to your content, they want to follow your content is great. What you have to start to understand is how do you start to build a meaningful relationship with that audience so that they want more? And
Mhm.
more could be insight into your life. And so, like at LTK, it started with, gosh, I get a lot of DMs asking what I'm wearing. Okay, you're probably a great candidate to go ahead and set up an LTK. There's probably brands that are going to want to participate in that. That is your revenue stream.
Mhm.
For a fitness instructor, it could be, hey, like you look great. Tell me more about what you're doing. For a chef, tell me more about the ingredients that you're using or like the cookware, whatever it might be, or just they want more information about what's going on. I mean, we have a ton of creators who have launched challenges, or maybe they have podcasts that are available on YouTube, but their audience is so engaged that they're going to want like the extended behind the scenes experience of it on Uscreen. And so what you need to start to understand is and test is like, do you have almost like that portability in your audience? Will they follow you to another platform? Will they make purchasing decisions? A lot of our creators might start with, like when you think about digital products, they might start with a course or a challenge, something that we offer through Uscreen, because that is a way for them to understand, like, is there a propensity to pay from from my audience, my follower base to be able to do it. I think what's really important before you even get to this point of like, hey, will they pay me? Is how do you build a direct relationship with them? And so this goes to like we've talked about all the benefits of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The other side of it is like you don't have visibility into who these people are. You don't have a direct relationship with them. So like, back to your question on potential mistakes or advice I'd give to a creator is you want to figure out how to actually start building a direct relationship with them. And the way to do that is to collect emails. That is like your first step. You want to, if Instagram were to go away, or TikTok were to go away, or YouTube were to go away, or something happens with the algorithm, you want a way to be able to reach that audience directly. And so finding ways to be able to get email addresses so that you can directly communicate with them. Maybe you're starting to send out a newsletter, a broadcast message, whatever it might be, that is your first step. Because if you don't have that, it's and if they're not even willing to give you that information, it's going to be really hard to monetize beyond that. And that's why, like, at Uscreen, like, we're so dedicated to even helping on that piece. Like, we built our own email software, our customer relationship management software, where you can start to capture those email addresses, send them newsletters, be in touch with them, because once you have that, you can go back to them directly.
Yeah, I always say I think part of the problem is that a lot of people, I think there's two groups of people now that start a social media account, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram. Is the one group is they already know how they're monetizing, right? So they have some kind of profession, a skill, something, and so they know in some way, shape, or form, like I'm creating this social for top of funnel to a business that I already have or a business I want to grow. I just need more eyes and ears on it. And then there's the second group of people where they're like, I just want to create content and have fun and I want to make money from it. But it's that group that I think part of the problem is too is they don't know how to monetize it in a way. It's like they don't have a plan from the get-go, right? They're like, "Oh, I'll do some affiliates or, oh, I'll get some AdSense." But, they don't actually have something solid that they're selling. And I I think the advice of capturing emails, because that's what I tell people. It's like at the beginning, you can start capturing emails and then figure out later on what you're going to sell. That's what I did. you know, I did that. I had a email, newsletter and I was, promoting my interviews and I wasn't making any money, but and then I remember listening to a podcast way back in the day. I don't know if you know Pat Flynn, or who he is, but he has a really popular podcast about like online marketing and all that. And he had a guest on who said anyone can start a business online with at least 2,000 people on your email list. So my number one goal, I remember it was to get 2,000 people on my email list. And I just like, that was all I was focusing on. I was like, I want to get 2,000. I had no idea what I was like going to sell or what I was going to do. And then at that point, I think is when I sent an email, let me see what happens. They're like, who wants to do one-on-one, YouTube coaching, right? This was like 7, 8 years. I don't know how long, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And then I had a way of communicating that. So I think for the people that don't really know how to make they're making money, that advice of just starting an email list, I think is solid because you're at least building something so that when you do figure out what you're doing, is there.
That's right. That's right. And, I'm a big fan of like building in public, like bringing your audience along for the
Mhm,
ride.
the journey.
The journey, right? And like even with you, like you mentioned, like you're kind of like, who I'm going to start this coaching thing. Who wants to be in it? Like that was perfectly authentic. Again, there's that
Mhm,
word again. People
mhm,
have been seeing your content. You're like, I'm going to give this a whirl. Like, who wants to be a participant in this? And that was the springboard of your business. And
mhm,
right, the question you asked before, like, well, what if a niche is oversaturated? This concept of like people buy from people, right?
mhm,
Like people are not commoditized, and so there is a world where, yeah, it may be oversaturated, but maybe you are the right person for that person, on the other side of the country, on the other side of the world, where you are actually resonating with them
yeah,
in a way that is actually going to improve their lives. So even if it is super saturated, if you're that person, if you have that point of view, like you can still win and be on top. But again, you just have to build that direct relationship. So, like, I love that that's how your journey started. That's what we always suggest. And that's why, again, not to like to focus on like what we're doing on Uscreen. Like, that's why even like at our lowest packages, like we
mhm.
include the email tools, et cetera, because we believe it's so important for people to start building out that database because you just don't know what you're going to want to do with it next.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a profile of a creator that you see that wins long term? Like, do you see patterns in behavior or maybe the way they act, the way they think?
I think it's a few things. I mean, first, like they do need to demonstrate that they can kind of create compelling content, right?
Mhm,
Like you are playing an algorithm game. And so you want to make sure that you are building content and building an audience that is going to want to continue to engage and watch with it. There's something to that. You can, bring in a ton of people. You can help make sure that that content is fantastic. But I would say like that's the first piece, which probably sounds quite obvious. I'd say beyond that, it's the type of content that you have and the audience that you have, if you have that engagement, being very intentional and thoughtful about how to monetize. Like we see creators, like it is a life cycle, right? Like I think the latest stat I saw is over 4% of content creators, and this is like there's 50, 60, 70 million content creators globally. Only 4% of them make over $100,000.
$100,000. Yeah, I've seen that stat. Mhm,
And frankly, it's if you actually cut it by women and men, predominantly men who are doing that.
mm,
We can have a whole conversation about women.
yeah,
I think like for a woman, or really any entrepreneur, like you do have to, even if you want to start to get into it for fun, and that's fine. But if you're actually like, I want to start to like monetize this and make money around it, you need to make sure that you are building out a plan that makes sense and stays true to like your content category stays true to the type of work you're doing. So for us, the types of creators who come to us who are ready for a membership, and we span a ton of verticals, our number one vertical is fitness uh, and wellness, right? Because everyone in the world is sort of craving that type of content. And as we know, fitness is growing as an industry, but more importantly, that is something that's very personalized. Like, am I going to watch this person and are they going to be motivated and instructive enough that's going to help me improve? And so for that, there is sort of like a baseline number of followers that they need, but they need to have a strategy again of how are they going to start to prove out that they can start to monetize it. A lot of our creators are monetizing with AdSense. They are monetizing with affiliate. I think there's a massive opportunity with affiliate, brand deals for sure. They then get into the point of, okay, let me launch digital products. If it's courses, maybe I'll do in real life community type products. They might start to get into their own merch. But what they start to realize as they move up this life cycle is that they have an entrenched enough audience, a bought in enough audience that the membership makes sense. And then from there, like if you want to launch a membership, like it's a commitment because you want to basically make sure that there's great content, that the content is organized, that it's premium. And what that means is like you can still have a ton of content that's free on YouTube, a ton of content that's free on Instagram, but there's premium content. There's additional aspects of them accessing the membership that they're going to get value from. And so with like if they do a membership with us, there's a community component. And I'm telling you, these community members love the community behind the paywall
Mhm,
because
mhm,
it's their like-minded people. There aren't trolls. It feels
mhm.
like a safe space. It feels like
Mhm.
they're starting to build that connection. It feels like they have a direct connection to this creator that they wouldn't get on the socials and that
Yeah.
engagement. It's live streaming. We offer group Zooms. We're about to launch one-to-one Zooms, but they really feel like they're sort of walking into this digital ecosystem where they're starting to belong to something that they hadn't felt like they had that feeling of belonging to before. And so again, like back to like if who are the profiles that are best, it's like, do you have an audience? And it doesn't have to be like a massive following, right? Like if you, especially like fitness and wellness, if you're charging $25 a month, if you have 1,000 subscribers, 1,500 subscribers, you're starting to build out like a pretty significant business making $5,000, $6,000 a month in revenue that you can start to build and grow on top of. What it comes down to, because I'm probably saying all this and your listeners are like, oh my God, this feels like a lot of work. Like, how do I do this? Is like, I really believe, and this is one of the things I love most about the creator economy is you have to surround yourself with the right people who are going to help you do this. Like it really truly takes a village. What I love about the creator economy is that everyone is so incredibly supportive in this industry, like more so than in other industries I've been a part of. I look at the work that you're doing, Erica. There's a whole ecosystem of coaches. There's a whole ecosystem of platforms that want to help. Even for us at Uscreen, we have coaches who will work with our content creators, who will help them think through what is your content strategy? What's your marketing strategy? What should you charge? Right? Because being an entrepreneur, being a content creator can feel so incredibly lonely. And you're just sitting at your desk, you're sitting in front of your phone, like, okay, what do I do next? And so I think it's like surround yourself, become part of your own community. Uh, Start to access and tap into networks that can help, be a voracious like reader of content. I mean, we have a creator who was so successful in her fitness app that she started a second app called the Pilatespreneur. Uh,
Mhm.
she's actually helping other Pilates instructors launch their own memberships because
Yeah.
again, it was sort of going down in the DMs. She was getting all these questions in the DMs around like, how did you do this? And
How
she
to
was like,
do
well,
it.
let me actually create a course around it.
Yeah. See, so people know, so we take a step back. With Uscreen, would you call Uscreen a membership platform? Is that really what it is for creators that are looking to create some type of membership?
I would I would say like we are a video membership platform. So if you want to have sort of like this Netflix like sort of streaming video on demand experience where
Mhm.
you have apps that are branded as yours so that like no one knows that it's Uscreen. Your listeners might right now may have a Uscreen app on their TV. Well, it's not Uscreen, Uscreen powered app, excuse me, or on their phone. But you want it to feel like you've got your own Netflix like experience. But we also bring in like the community piece, right? And so, yes, like most of our customers come to us because they want to launch a membership. They want that recurring revenue. And they really want a place where they can own the data, own the revenue, own the destination. But we also have creators who may have um, 3 videos and they want to launch a challenge. We are set up where we can do that with them. That's sort of like an entry point for us. We have content creators, filmmakers who have 1 video and they just want to monetize that. So it really runs the gamut. But anyone who like it really does come down to like video. Like is the a big part of your offering video? And then do you want to bring in the community piece to bring it all together?
So then, because when I hear memberships, and I know a lot of people, because I help people in regards to figuring out like how to monetize, right? And so memberships always comes up, but I know a lot of people mention, well, there's Patreon, there's YouTube memberships, there's school, that's more of like the community aspect. There's who are some of the other platforms, right? So there's all these different platforms. It sounds as if one of the ways that Uscreen is different is that it's almost like a white label, like a private labeling. So it's like instead of taking people, oh, go to Patreon and this is my community on Patreon, it's like, oh, let's use Rachel as an example, right? Rachel Fits Pilates. That's how we got connected. So Rachel is one of my clients, and then she started her own app, and it was powered through Uscreen. But Rachel would just say, "Here's my app," right? She's
That's
not saying go to Uscreen to
that's
check out
right.
my app.
That's right. It's sort of going down to this notion of like ownership, right?
Hmm.
Like at the end of the day, if you want it to be your owned platform, where they're not having to go through another you mentioned YouTube memberships, you mentioned Patreon. Um, this is your own component where it's your data,
Hmm.
your content. If you own the developer key on the apps, like truly, like if you wanted to leave one day, you could take all your data and take it with you. We are the software that is powering it, and there's benefits to it. So one is
Hmm.
like you think about the rev share. We have creators who've started. Rachel's actually an example. She started with YouTube memberships,
Hmm.
and that is like it's a great way to get started because it's a push of a button. You've got the person, the rev share, is set the way that it's set because you're doing a lot of like the lifting for you. But a lot of creators who've come to us from having been on YouTube memberships are like, I still don't have direct access. I don't know who these
Yeah.
people are. I don't
Yeah.
have any
You have
data
no
about
control. You
them.
can't kick them out if they disrupt. Like yeah.
Exactly, and
Mhm,
so they're saying, "I want it to be my own platform so that I completely own the entire experience. I own the data, I own the video, content that's going on." We have some creators who they're like, "Because I know I have my Uscreen, there are videos that I know the algorithm wouldn't love on YouTube, but, I know I could put it on Uscreen and my hardcore fans are gonna engage with it."
mhm.
We have celebrities who are posting daily affirmations on their Uscreen powered apps that they just wouldn't want to put out in the public, out in the wild, but they really feel like it's a safe space for them to be able to do it here. So it really is sort of like your own walled garden that you fully control.
So you're not competing against a Patreon or anything like that. It's more so, not to say you're competing, but when people are thinking about this as a possible idea, it's more so having Uscreen or going down the path of basically building out a custom app. Is that kind of what people are thinking about?
That's right. Like
Mhm,
if a lot of our customers, like they have this vision, they have this dream of, I want to have my own app, my own TV experience, my own community, where if you wanted to build that out yourself, where it's secure, it's safe, it's reliable, you get the economies of scale of video, you would have to pay a lot of developers and a lot of people a lot of money, and it would take a lot of time, not
mhm,
only to build, but to maintain.
mhm,
With us, they're coming to us and they're like, I know that Uscreen can build this. We've over 4,000 apps that we've built and deployed. So we know how to get them approved with the various app stores, that it is going to be completely branded for them. And we can get it launched within 30, 60, 90 days.
Mhm.
A lot of our customers, again, if you think about that life cycle we talked about, like maybe you start with a challenger course or YouTube memberships, a lot of our customers are sort of further along. Like they know that their audience is ready for this. Um,
Mhm.
Sometimes we can even help them with the migration of their data from another platform, or
Yeah.
just strategies of, okay, you have a YouTube membership. How do you start to market to that group to say, hey, look, we have our own app, we have our own community. This is something just for us to come together.
So I'm thinking about a client right now, that I'm working with. We actually have a meeting tomorrow, and she has like a free challenge that she does, right? So she's gonna. I don't know how the tech setup is, but in some ways, you know, she could use a use screen for a free challenge that I think would eventually lead to a paid product within Uscreen. Do you see that as a funnel path of like a free challenge to maybe a paid product?
Absolutely, and we encourage our customers to launch challenges or trial periods or previews because
Mhm,
that's the gateway. And so,
mhm,
the reason why like they like to host that on their Uscreen powered apps is, okay, I have this challenge. I'm getting people to do it for free. Okay, they're downloading the app. So even if and I'm getting their email address. So now that the
mhm,
app is on their phone, as I mentioned, Uscreen has a ton of like marketing tools, marketing features. I can start sending push notifications to them, reminding them to log back in. I now
mhm,
have email addresses so that I can email them and send them through a series to make sure that they're coming back to complete the challenge, right? I can start to do giveaway funnels or other types of
mhm,
funnel components that's going to sort of get them to convert to a paying subscription. I can invite them to a live stream and maybe that's a one-time purchase or a Zoom.
mhm.
You can start to monetize in a lot of different ways,
But
but
it's
it's
all right there,
all
and
right there.
do the creators say, "Here's my app," basically? Like, "This is my app." Is that the language and messaging that they use when they're selling this?
They'll say, check out the app or go to the website,
Mhm,
whatever it may be. And then, as I mentioned, like, I think one of the reasons why our customers really like us is because we've sort of like consolidated this whole tech stack of like payments and video layers and subscription tiers and email marketing, all of that.
mhm,
They then can sort of log into their operator tool and manage it. They can set
mm.
coupons, they can have different tiers, right? Subscription tiers of
So the
access.
payment happens inside of Uscreen. It has a payment processor.
That's right. The
Mhm.
dollars go direct to the Uscreen customer. So,
Yeah,
like, when someone pays, it goes immediately to their account, their
but they
checking.
don't need a separate Stripe or PayPal, like the
It
payment processing, it's all right there.
We do it through Stripe and
Mhm,
PayPal. So if they
mhm.
already have that account, then they can just sort of like hook it
Connect
in.
it.
But we
Yeah,
make sure it's not like coming to us and we sit on it for 90 days and then we send it over time. It's like it's coming straight to them.
yeah.
Again, we want them to own the data. We want them to own the payment rails. But it's this ecosystem where they can just log in and we've set up automations and sequences of how to engage in their different audience types. Like they can do segmentation within it. They can
Mhm,
easily set up a live stream. They can set up the one-to-one Zooms, but it's sort of this like all-in-one platform that helps them manage their customers, manage
mhm,
their content experience, so that they can build out. Like our whole mission is like, how do we help our customers really sort of like scale their impact and
mhm,
build sustainable revenue businesses? And
mhm.
so the back end tools makes it a lot easier for them to do that. They don't need a massive team of people who are
Yeah.
marketing and operating and telling them here's best practice. We're saying here's your best practice. When someone signs up for a free trial, you need to send them these 3 emails with this
Mhm,
type of content. You can make it sound like your own, but we know that this is going to drive lift for you, for example. And they
mhm.
just click a button, turn it on, and it's working.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so you mentioned fitness as a vertical that totally makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. What are some of the other successful types of niches that you've seen? Because people might be listening now who are not in the fitness niche, but their wheels might be turning like, well, maybe I could do something like this. So what have you seen done really well at Uscreen?
I mean, a lot of education and coaching,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I mean, we power Jay Shetty's Genius app. We just went live with Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now,
Mm,
who is a guru in his own right.
mhm.
Uh, but we also have cooking classes. We have um, a homesteader who's incredible at homesteading, and people want to learn how to homestead. And he has his own app called Abundance Plus. A lot of just sort of like coaching for women. Like, I mean, that's the other thing that I love at LTK and at Uscreen. A lot of our customers are these like female entrepreneurs who have so much to offer to the world. But essentially, like we have coaches, like true, like either fitness, but also educational coaches who are using Uscreen to power their experience with their clients. If they're doing group coaching sessions, if there's video on demand, if they want to have the community, um, it really runs the gamut. I think that's one of the things that I love is that we see, I mean, we have a community of yarners. We have ceramics enthusiasts with clay share, right? And so it's basically any sort of content creator who has a point of view or content to share that people would want to download the apps, watch it ad free. Like that's the another benefit, right? Like it's we don't there's no ads. It's all subscription based revenue where they can start to build a deeper relationship with this audience.
And so then I go then and start thinking about tools like Kajabi, right? And so I think like that's usually kind of what people think of, like, oh, I'll do a Thinkific or a Kajabi. But why would you do a say Uscreen over something like that?
We're really set up in a way, like as I mentioned, like for like really getting to this like pinnacle of like recurring memberships, and we're
Hmm.
really really solid at video. And
Mm,
so if you have incredible video content, if that's going to be one of the main draws of someone coming to is like being able to access the on-demand video, accessing the live streams,
yeah.
and then also like getting them again, we talked about maybe you start with the challenges, but getting them to this point of like membership, we are the right sort of place to be able to do that. And like we have customers who maybe have started with Kajabi, they've launched a course, they recognize that they're ready to go further, which is why now we're sort of having these other offerings like course challenges so that our customers could be able to start with us.
What do you say to people who are afraid of their content or the content on their app like cannibalizing each other?
I mean, I think it's a valid concern. We
Hmm.
actually have seen some creators who have actually offered more free content on YouTube. And our advice is like, you never want your YouTube audience to feel like you are taking away. Um,
Hmm.
want to continue to create free content because that is, again, your top of funnel. That's how you're going to drive that engagement. There's also monetization opportunities there that we talked about. It's more that your audience really feels like there's gonna be more behind the paywall that they're going to be able to access. If it's direct access to you, if it's extended cuts, if there's a windowing piece, you can see it here first. And we've even like built in like integrations where like if you do have a storefront in your app, you can actually feature that storefront as one of the tabs in the app. So it really starts to become that destination. And we've seen content creators who've had their own merch that they're saying now 15-20% of their revenue is coming from people buying from within the app because we've set up those integrations for them.
Oh, when
Um,
you integrate what with like Shopify or something, or
Typically, like they could put their Shopify integration. We've
mm,
sort of built this flexibility within the app for them to be able to pull in what if it's a blog, if it's any sort of website, for them to be able to have direct access to it within the app.
yeah.
Uh,
So it's really about like really wanting to provide an experience to a user that feels almost like you said, like bespoke and like kind of just unique to that creator.
that's right. I think
Mhm.
like and like premium, I
Yeah.
think is like a big part of this. Is where someone really feels like they are getting access to something that the rest of the world isn't because they are sort of kind of entering this ecosystem. And again, it's that creators world that we're working with. And, back to your question around the types of creators, again, like it really runs the gamut where we have, certain content channels who have millions of subscribers on YouTube who are, bringing over some of their audience. We have some who have, you know, 10, 20,000, but it's a very engaged audience who's like
Mhm.
here for it.
Yeah, I wanted to that's actually one of the questions I was been thinking about, that I wanna ask you is that, like, if somebody's listening and they're like, "Well, I'm just not," because I had Rachel here on the podcast, and she has, over 1,000,000 subscribers. Some would argue she should have done this sooner, right? But, like, someone might listen and be like, "Well, I don't have 1,000,000 subscribers. Like, I don't even have 100,000 subscribers." So, what are you seeing on your end is a sweet spot or not? Or what's a number that you feel is okay for people to maybe have a Uscreen?
So it really does come down to like your niche and vertical, like
Okay.
to figure out if you're going to be able to make money. And here's why. Like if you're fitness, like you can charge 20, 25, $30 a month versus there's other vertical, or if you're B2B, same thing, versus other like, entertainment providers are probably charging a little bit less. And so that they'll need like sort of like a bigger following. But I mean, we've seen creators who, I would say like you want at least like 10,000 like Instagram followers, and YouTube subscriptions to be able to just be able to like start that journey of being able to monetize. Again, this is why like follower is not the only metric. It's really about audience engagement. If you're getting DMs, if you're getting high viewing times, if you're getting a lot of forwards and comments, then you've figured out that there is an audience that is a huge fan of yours that is like going to be willing to pay more to get access to you and your content.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because I see the other side of things where I have people coming to me and they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and they're making less than some of my other clients that have, you know, 50,000 subscribers or 40,000 subscribers. Sometimes though, even in the same niche, which is very interesting.
Yes.
It's very interesting. That's why I think it's really important to think about monetization from the get-go. But I think even knowing that something like a Uscreen exists, I think is important for people to start wrapping their head around because it's almost as if the creativity on what you want to do is limited by your own imagination of what you want to offer.
That's right. And
Mhm.
I would say like, one of the mantras we say internally, I mean, we have a lot of mantras, but like one is like we're the stage and let our customer, the content creator be the star. So we're sort of like behind the curtain, making sure everything's operating, running, but we really like it's like we're creating this canvas, this opportunity for the creator to come in and create the experience for their customers that they think is gonna like help drive that direct relationship. And also I want to say, like, and I mentioned this before, it's not just like the content creators relationship with the audience, it's their relationship with each other.
As a
When you
community.
the community, right? Like if and it's so like rewarding for me because it's all like, I've subscribed to some of our different Uscreen powered apps and I'll go into the community and to see the way these community members are authentically and vulnerably engaging with each other.
Hmm.
Not something that you would see often in public comments on the social platforms.
Yeah.
And that is a huge retention driver, like of the membership, because they feel like they are like-minded. Hey, we
Hmm.
are two people who both really resonate with this type of content. We are probably very similar and would probably get along very, very well, just like if it were in the real world. And so that is like a huge aspect of this and why we built in these like community features because that is like a massive part of like how these content creators are building these like sustained businesses. Of course, they're engaging in the community, but once they start engaging with each other, it really takes on a life of its
So you see the data. You said you have 4,000 like
own.
apps.
And a lot more customers than that, but
Whoa.
because we have some customers who they may just start with like a website. Right? Like,
Oh,
where they will want a video catalog, right? They will wanna start monetizing. Maybe they start with a challenge.
okay.
Um, maybe it's a live stream, and they wanna work their way up into building apps. So,
Mm.
we basically have built out, like, different packages
Mhm.
based on, again, like, where someone is in their journey. And then but some will come to us and they'll say, "I want every mobile app, I want every TV app." There's 6 different TV apps like Roku, Apple TV, like you name it that we
Oh,
can
wow.
we can launch them with. But we have deployed over 4,000. So we have teams who just know how to build these things, how to get them approved with the app stores, especially like with AI. The app stores are actually getting more stringent about what they're approving because
Oh,
they
interesting. Because
don't.
everybody and their mother is vibe coding and coming up with their own app.
That's right, but those are web apps, they're not native apps,
That's
and
yeah.
so, like, there's a lot, to it, but that's exactly right, and so I think, like, the app stores right now, like, there's just a lot of, like, regulations that you have to kinda navigate to be able to do it,
Mm,
and for us at Uscreen, we really focus on, like, the human piece. Now, obviously, we're leveraging AI to make us all more productive, like, our whole thing is, like, AI is, like, a supercharger for humans, but at the same time, like, there is a premium on that human connection. So we have humans who walk our customers through how to onboard, how to get these apps launched, how to think about, as I mentioned before, like strategies. Like a lot of
yeah,
customers will be like, I have this dream, I want to do this, I don't know how. And we're
mm,
like, we've got you.
that's
Okay.
cool.
Let's
Yeah.
we'll look at your content. We'll think about what we think you can price because we have benchmark
I
data.
totally have, like, several people that I'm gonna, like,
Love
send
it.
you guys this way because it's like there's so many. I mean, I'm familiar with Uscreen, but, like, until really talking to you, it's like, it seems like there's just so many different possibilities for it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because I think, like, a lot of customers, they love us. Like, my
Mhm,
favorite thing is, like, we'll sort of hold these, like, Uscreen Connects with our customers,
mhm,
and, like, they are just so happy with the way the software works, the money
mhm.
they're making off it. We've paid out over $1 billion to creators. Last year alone, we did $210 million. Like, so it's not like our creators are making a lot of money on
Yeah.
this. But they really, like, I think one of our main differentiators is, like, they just love the people at Uscreen. They love the
Mm,
support, they love that we care. Our
yeah.
core value is this notion of, like, customer obsession, uh,
Mm,
which I think a lot of companies aren't. They say they
mhm.
are, but then, like, the customers don't really feel that, and for us, like, it is what we live and breathe, and so our customers love us because they, like, feel that. They know that we want them to be successful,
Yeah.
and we make a lot of them successful. Like, we really show them the way to do it.
So going back to my question is, with all that data that you have, what is the typical size of a, membership that you see that seems to be the most successful? So if somebody's trying to do the math in their head right now and they're like, well, okay, I have 10,000 subscribers or, whatever, and a certain percentage, comes over, like how many, and I know it has to do a lot with also, like, how much you're charging, but, what do you see as that sweet spot? What's, like, the average when it comes to some of the numbers that you're seeing?
Again, like, you named a few different components, but I think, like, even getting to, like, 500 members, like,
Mhm,
recurring subscribers,
mhm,
is a decent sort of start. Because if you have 500 subscribers, I'm gonna do some public math, but 500 subs and they're paying you $20 a month each,
mhm,
I believe that's $10,000 a month. Like, that
mhm.
is I'm gonna, like, check my
I
work.
was gonna say, like, is it 10,000 or 1,000? I'm not a numbers person. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure,
500
right?
times 20 is $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
That that is a great business. Now,
Mhm.
you have to maintain it, and so churn is real, and a
Yeah.
lot of what we do with our customers is really help them not only figure out how do you acquire and get these new subscribers, but
Better
then
people.
how do you manage the churn? And
Mhm.
that comes down to, like, your engagement strategies, your marketing strategies. We just launched, we're really excited about it, like AI video recommendations where, a lot of our customers have these massive video catalogs. It's like that Netflix problem. You sit down, you're like, "What am I gonna
Mm,
watch?" Now
mm.
someone can log in and, like, if it's fitness, for example, the app will recommend, "We think this is the right video for you based on, like, your viewing patterns, based on
Like
what
what
we."
YouTube does, the
Exactly.
algorithm. Mhm.
But then it'll say, "Okay, you just did this really intense Pilates session. Here's your next video. It's a cool down." And
Mm.
so, anyways, we're just investing a lot in creating a really rich, like, engagement experience to manage that churn piece on the other side. And as I mentioned, like, we have all those automations. It's sort of like you set it up once, and then, like, it triggers based on, like, user behavior. But I would say, like, you want to get to Like if you're starting to make like two, three, four, $5,000 a month in recurring, like you're in pretty good shape and you've got a good base to be able to build it off.
Yeah, that's great. What are you seeing the creators do that are really good with that retention of their members?
It's it's a few things. So one, like they are sort of putting fresh content into their platforms to bring their audience back, right? And they're like I mean, that's the other thing. It's like as you start to build in this revenue, you could start to invest more in the content, the quality of the content. And so that is one piece. Two, the community engagement is real. So if it's popping into the community and leaving a vertical video for everyone, like with a daily affirmation, if it's like responding to community comments, if it's DMing, that's another piece as well. The third piece is really focusing on, again, like those engagement strategies, right? So, sending folks, bringing people, like if watch time is up, if people are coming into the apps on a recurring basis, your retention is going to be much higher. But then there's also churn prevention, right? Someone decides to cancel, offer them the free month or offer them a reduced price. Again, we've like set this all up for them. But also, as I mentioned before, like you still keep posting on your public channels because maybe they've subscribed, but maybe they're on YouTube and they see you and you remind them, hey, I have this thing going on in the app. I'm
Mhm.
gonna live stream, by the way, is massive,
Mm,
especially in the world of AI, because it's so authentic. They know it's you. I'm
yes.
gonna have this live stream. Come into the app and watch the live stream. It's a
Mhm.
phenomenal way to drive that engagement. And it does come down to like there is a bit of a commitment here. Like if you're going to launch a membership, and again, that's that life cycle we've talked about, like start to dip your toe, see if there's a propensity to pay from your audience. You want to make sure you sort of have a content calendar, you have a content strategy, and that you're engaging with it to bring those folks in. But then it can be like super successful. And then the other thing too is like, every creator has multiple revenue streams. And so if you have deep engagement on the apps, on the membership, it actually helps with other ones. Like we've had content creators in the fitness space who, they can say to brands, not only do I have this huge following on Instagram and this engagement, I have this private community that loves me. And fitness brands have said, you know what, let's go do an in real life session where you can come in, we'll outfit you in
Mm,
whatever fitness brand we're in. You can invite your community to come to it. So then again,
mhm.
they feel like they're getting special access, and the creator not only is driving value for their audience, but then the brands love it because they're like, these are super fans,
Yeah.
very influential person that can bring it. So you have to really think about the revenue streams as like integrated,
Mhm.
and a little bit take the long game as well. Like we talked about that at the beginning, like don't do brand deals that don't make sense, right? Like if you don't believe in the product, if it just feels like it's not a good fit, as compelling as that like quick hit dollar could be, it could start to erode trust with your audience. And like that is something that AI will never replace. It's like the trust you have with the audience and your judgment and your taste. And so you have to make it clear to them that them being your followers, that you have that and that is what you hold in the highest regard.
And I think just in listening to you talk, I kind of feel like what you guys have going on with Uscreen is almost what's going to be even more in favor as we move into this whole AI revolution thing. Because there's this kind of quote unquote idea that like courses are dead, right? When you have an influx of information, that the value of that information goes down, right? So now it's more about the experience. So I
Yeah.
even know for me, the thing is though, I didn't know about AI when I first started it, but like I'm in retrospect, I'm glad I did what I did and I created my program because it was never a course. I always said it was an experience, right?
Yeah.
So because there's always this community aspect. Now my whole group is they're on school, which has been great for community, but then there's the coaching. So there's that like human element. And then of course now I have a course, my curriculum, but now I'm actually putting my entire curriculum on a whole AI I call it like EV, right? EV on demand. So it's like having me on demand with the AI. So the whole thing is an experience. I think the days of just churning out course after course and saying, I made all this money with my course, I think those days are going to die and people are going to be hungry for like what you're what you are providing in the sense of the community, the challenges, the lives. Like it's that human
Yes,
element and experience.
that's right.
Hmm.
And, I think also speaking from like an AI perspective, when you post your videos on these platforms, like you are training models. And so, for us, again, like this
True.
is your
Mhm.
own video content. We actually just launched DRM, so digital rights management, where it's going to be very hard for any of your subscribers to be able to your content is protected for them to be able to do anything with this. Now we have offline viewing where they can download into the app just like you would be able to with like a Netflix, but we're making it so that it really is your content and that you are holding it and being able to make those decisions of like what you're training, who you're training, or what. So I agree. I feel like the world is changing a lot. I think you and I both agree that there is going to be a premium on that human interaction, that
Yep.
experience piece, which is why, again, like it is the video on demand, it is the community, but we have the courses, the challenges, we have live streams, we could do one-to-one Zooms, we could do group Zooms, all these things that like really brings these people together.
That's so cool. So somebody's listening to this and you're like, oh wow, that sounds like really cool. Wow, I like what you're talking about, Allison. What is this going to cost people? Like how do you work with people? Is it a rev share? Is it just a monthly fee? What does that look like?
As I mentioned, like we have different packages. And so there is a monthly fee associated with the package. And that's really tied to like which features you want to take advantage of. You can go to our website. You could sign up for a trial. You can request a demo and you can actually talk to someone on our team who can sort of understand what you're looking to do, what stage you're in, and start to set you up. Um, and then we basically want to be tied to your success. So we have a model where basically for every paid subscriber you get, we'll take a cut of that. It's a flat fee. Again, you can talk to our team. It depends on what
Mhm.
package you're in. So you could have millions of users in our database. You can continue to manage that. Our goal is to get them paid and with you. And so everything we do as a business is working on those active paid subs for you.
Got it. Well, this has been great, Allison. I know that a lot of the women probably listening, their wheels are turning and they're like, oh, I should look into this. Maybe I create my own app. So, for people that have, you know, maybe questions or might be interested, well, I have a link for you.
Great.
I'll put that below. Are there any other resources for them to check out about it?
I mean, I would start with our website. Our blog has a ton of content. Again, you can request a demo
Okay.
and sign up for a trial. I try to post regularly on my LinkedIn if you want to follow me there, just to sort of like I'm building in public, like as we're sort of
Mhm.
going along with the journey.
Mhm.
Um, and feel free to DM me. Like I love getting DMs from our customers. I get to understand more of what they're looking for. But we'd love to have them participate. Again, we have our own community, as I referenced before, in real life, but also virtual, where you can also start to connect with like-minded people. So just reach out in any way possible. We'd be thrilled to work with you all. And again, like our goal is all about how do we help these entrepreneurs sort of fulfill their dreams and their visions and build out those sustainable revenue businesses.
I love that. We have the same goal because my goal is to help, women and, create their next level life through, well, for me, it's YouTube and, change your lives for the better. So I love that.
Exactly right.
So thank you so much, Allison. This is an awesome conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Congrats to you on all your success. It's really
Oh,
remarkable.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.